Hello, how are you doing? As the narrative goes on, the two sides come up. Supposedly, there are going to be peace talks in Geneva for Ukraine as well, not just for Iran. But is it going to succeed if, as we know, that the main aim of Russia is to remain influential in the region, and the territory, that they want to grab again is, is about influence. So imagine that people are fighting for a piece of land and a way of life, because basically it's also about ideologies that they differ on. Because in Ukraine, a person can belong to a minority, but they can still get respected. But in Russia, that's not the case, If somebody belongs to a minority community, they don't get respected. So, but let's look at if we would give Russia, the benefit of doubt that it is correct in this topic, would it help us? So if we had banned, every minorities and stuff like that, would it help us? Yeah, the population would increase perhaps or something. But regardless of ideologies, the population increases in many parts of the world except in Europe. But does it help us if the population increases too much? Because actually it brings along several issues. Along with that, pollution, which can affect all of us if we think about so population increase. So Russia doesn't want to hear about any minorities, and also Hungary is in that same basket. It goes along with Russia. That's the main debate, between the EU and Russia over minority rights. So it's not just about resources, but about ideologies. And of course, Russia still sticks to communism roots. So basically, that's also a difference between the two sides, because Ukraine is more aligned with Western ideology and Russia is with the East. So there have been prophecies that from the East, the war is going to come towards the West. And it's starting, we already in that stage. And very soon on the 24th of February, it will be 4 years since the start of the full-scale Ukraine war. But even prior to that, Russia was moving forward on the Eastern Front in Ukraine. So isn't that big landmass that Russia have, isn't that enough for it, for its population? Which is, like, there are more Russians than Ukrainians, we know that. But I mean, that's Russia is, has the biggest country in the world. Isn't that land enough for all? Why does it want to spread, towards the West? It sounds quite, bad. Actually, it's a bad influence. But does it bring any benefit? I mean, human life cannot be just measured by economic growth. Because if we do that, then we ignore all the other factors that destroy human lives. For example, pollution, stress, and, you know, stress and other things that destroy human lives. So economic growth cannot, outweigh, you know, human lives. Because if we just let people just, everything is about money and population growth and economic growth, it's going to lead to a disaster. It already has in the past. Merhaba. Nasılsınız? Why do I only have Turkish audience? Neden sadece Türkçe izleyenler var? Yabancılar yok mu? Yok mu? There are no foreigners, aren't they? I'm just surprised that, I speak in English, and why is it that only Turkish speakers show up? I mean, okay, but sorry, I just want audience from many places, not just from one country. But I'm just saying that in the Ukraine war topic, Russia wants to bring communism back. And it means that, deleting, the individual rights. Basically, you have to conform to the majority, like you have to be like them. You don't have any right to decline something, obedient citizen, and everything has to be the same. You have to live in the same tiny block of flats that, well, like my verseless life, barely renting, not even owning anything, but like, do you know what I mean? Is it and let's have the population increase more and more, and live in more pollution, and the nature is getting destroyed. Is it what would bring humanity good things? No. But the thing is, everybody is brainwashed that, oh, Russia is fighting for humanity. No way. No way. I mean, killing Ukrainians, does it save humanity? You got to be kidding me. And Ukrainians are way less than Russians. You all know the demographic situation. So this is like the bully says to the minority, well, I don't care about your rights. I don't care about how you want to live your life or your way of life. I'm going to impose what I want you to do. And that sucks. I don't like such. That's why I respect President Zelensky, despite he receives tons of criticism every time he receives, like, he is the worst thing, he is a drug addict or anything, bullshit, or, like insults, and like, is President Putin better? Is he, an angel? Is he like the best of the best? No way. But that's when the narrative is twisted. When more people repeat the same lie, it gets to be believed, yes, that's the truth. Because more people say it, that's definitely the truth. No, it's not true. Same about religions. Just because there are more people in a particular religion, it doesn't mean that's the truth. It doesn't mean that. I'm just saying that we don't respect minorities enough to, give them freedom and what they deserve, like respect. First of all, that you leave them alone and don't impose your will on them, like you must live this way or we are going to be punished. And basically what Ukrainians are punished is basically their country is getting destroyed just because Russia says, no, this is, the evil Zionists in Ukraine, and they are evil, and they must be destroyed, Nazism. But it's bullshit. Because if they say there's no such thing as Ukrainian language, oh, I received several messages, very negative messages from bullies, like, I suppose the side that, doesn't want me to say these things. Anyway, I'm still going to repeat the same point, that I think individual rights should be respected more than imposing something that the majority of people are forced to do so. But the sad thing is, humans are very cruel beings. They want to impose. If something is very bad for them, they have a very poor standard of living. They want others to live in the same crap. Like, for example, if I'm a Russian, let's say, я русская, например, and then I would say, oh, I live in a crap block of flats, I barely rent, I barely even live, I'm poor. Oh, no, I want land in the neighboring country, I want bigger space, and yeah, I'm going to have many children, and yeah, I need land and space. That's not cool. That's just something, yeah, people are just they forget that actually inconsiderate people are very inconsiderate. The truth is this: people don't care about what their actions mean to others, in terms of if they disregard their neighbor, then it's going to lead to horrible results. As in the Ukraine war, we all witness the terrible consequences of, evil is justified. So nowadays, the bad one is displayed as good, and the good one is displayed as evil. That's how simple it is. And I'm sad that we are heading towards a disaster in the world, and we don't respect minorities. Why? Do you feel better that you destroy, oh yeah, we should destroy the Zionists, the Jews, and yeah, Ukrainians, and all that? Do you feel better? And yeah, it's just one of those things. You can't reason with people who have been made to believe that, they follow something, that's for the benefit of humanity, but actually it's just leading towards the end. And why is it that people don't want to hear that we were all born into this world as imperfect human beings? It's not going to help us. Actually, human history is just a history of wars. Many, many wars throughout history. Nothing good. Just terrible events, murders, and people have been fighting over land. For what? Who is right? Who is right? And people kid themselves, no, this one is right, the other one is wrong and evil. Ultimately, nobody is completely correct. I mean, because of a war, both sides get traumatized, in a way. So Ukrainians have been traumatized by this war. So their response is very negative towards Russia, but it's understandable. If we have been in their situations, we would understand why they behave in that way, Like if a Ukrainian goes on that they hate Russians, then you would understand. If you were in their shoes and in their situation, you would understand why that person says that way. So yeah, but humans have always been controlled in history by religion, and politics. So this is the way that people are controlled every single time, and there's no escape from this. Everything is controlled, and sadly we humans fall into a trap, and they play us like puppets, you know. We are just worthless slaves. The more of us on this earth, it means that the more slaves we become. Right? The more people exist in this world, the more easier it gets to exploit people. And I don't want anybody to be exploited. I don't want that, because I care, but the thing is, humans, you know, are evil. And the sad fact is that the more people exist in this world, the more exploitation happens. Therefore, I'm not a humanist in that sense that, you know, most people would say, oh, that person is a humanist. No, I'm not. I'm not. But I still care about humans, that I don't want anybody to be a slave. But for that to happen, that we wouldn't be a slave, we would not need to be brainwashed by religions and stuff like that, because it's to our detriment. It's bad for us if we are controlled so much to the point that we don't respect minorities and stuff like that. So anyway, I understand that most of you find my speech very boring and you don't care. It's up to you. You can listen to this and you know, go on your way, whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying, I care about people, but in this way, not the humanist, so-called humanist way, but, and I'm not talking about religions now, but I'm just sad that we have made this equation that religion equals morality. But I think people who have tendency towards atheism, or they are just not committed so much to a certain religion, they still can have morals. That's what I think, that people who don't have specific religions, they still can hold morals. But that's the sad thing, that people confuse religion with morals. They think that, oh, morals come from religion. But religion is more about control. Morals people can hold without religion. Because if you have a heart and you have a thinking and you see certain events in the world and you think about why does that happen, and the people who are suffering, that's, you know, like for example a war, and you have compassion for the suffering side, then yes, without religion you can have a heart. So it's not necessary this certain religion equals, oh, a person is, you know, a very ethical and, you know, morally correct person. It's not necessarily. Maybe to a certain point, but I'm not saying that, you know, somebody who doesn't follow a religion strictly, that person still can, you know, have morality and values. But anyway, the sad thing is that everything has to be in a certain way, which is very disappointing, that people are channeled towards one particular way. You have to be this. And everything is controlled, like, you know, you have to be like your gender. You can't even think about anything else, which is the worst part. You have to be like your gender. You cannot think anything else. It's like forcing conformity over, you know, anything, any freedom. Conformity is the worst thing. When you force somebody to be something they don't want to be, you conform them. You have to be like this. You cannot be something else, because religion tells this is, you know, And the worst thing is that people assume that your gender is your complete identity. No, it's not. It's not the complete identity of a person. You know, a gender is something that you couldn't choose. It's not your complete identity. For me, I don't like this identity as this gender. I'm not happy, about this. I don't like being female. I suffer a lot. But I'm just saying, people, mistake that, oh, your gender, oh, you must be happy the way you are, your gender, oh, it means you are just this. This is your identity. Your gender is your identity. No, it's not. I don't feel this way. I would have liked to be a male, actually, not a female. But sadly, I was born as a female, which I don't like. I don't know why people message useless messages to me, like why there are so many bullies, who come up with irrelevant messages on my channel. I don't care that you think I'm female and you think I should behave this way or that way, or I should speak a certain language. I don't like this conformity stuff. I really hate it. That you think, oh, my gender is this, I have to be this. No, I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm just saying that I give Ukrainians a huge amount of respect for being free, that they fight against communism and they fight against conformity. I respect Ukrainians for that. And I give them, respect. So Slava Ukraini, because you deserve freedom. And you are strong because even though you have a neighbor that has a bigger army, but you still stand strong. And Ukraine deserves to win because Russia is not correct. This war is a useless war and it's against freedom. And Ukraine doesn't deserve what it has been through over the years. So I don't know when Russia will pay for its crimes, but it should. And I really wish that that time would come sooner, when people wouldn't believe in Russia anymore, because religion brainwashes people. And so because you don't respect minority rights, you think the president of Russia is saying correctly when he is not correct. Anyway, I don't believe in peace talks between, Ukraine, Russia, and the United States, because President Trump is not for peace. He stands on the side of Russia. And Russia doesn't stand with individual freedom. Therefore, I'm skeptical about the peace talks. And I wish somebody would replace Trump, because everything is going in a bad direction. So I'm skeptical about the peace talks, because I don't believe in Trump or anybody else, because Trump is on Russia's side. And the populism is very boring to me. Like, what people want to hear, it's what the populism leaders, they keep repeating the same things, and it's very boring. And Trump says those popular sayings, and it's too boring. There is no result. Trump is not a president of peace. He is sending an aircraft carrier to the Persian Gulf. So he is not for peace. And about the topic of Ukraine, Trump is very unfair. He gives credit to Russia, not Ukraine. So I wish somebody would stop, him, and just, we would not have this world that we are heading towards. It's a disaster. And I really hate it. So Trump and his ideology is just something that is bad for all of us. And he doesn't respect minority rights. So I don't like Trump, as you know. I have said it several times on my channel. So anyway, sana ne? Benim kim oldum, sana ne oluyor ki? Sen kimsin? Beni sorgulamanın hakkın yok yani. You don't have any right to ask me. Besides, you are no better person, I'm just saying I'm fed up that the world is so crowded. I'm just saying I don't like that. I think people go crazy about thinking that if, we have, population increase and economic growth, which is a lie, live like, in India people live, yeah, or in China. That's much better, right? In the pollution, and yeah, it's great for everyone. I'm just saying that's very terrible for those people who live there. I feel sorry for them. And I don't like that this is the ideology that people like. Popular sayings, populism. This is the way it is and it should be this way. Why? Just because the majority of people say this so, and we have to suffer because people just don't stop. I posted a video about mice, mice, little animal, and there was an experiment done on those animals, and the mice had population increase, and they became crazy. And I shared that video on my channel. It's interesting to watch. What happened to the mice after there were thousands and thousands of mice? Mouse. Plural is mice. So I'm just saying those little animals had gone crazy. And same way here. We have too many people and people have gone crazy. And people are rude, and it's no good for anyone to have this many evil on earth. I think we need far less people on the earth. I wouldn't care if anybody killed me. Honestly, I couldn't care less because I don't see any future for this world. If it keeps going the same way that it does, we are going to end up in horrible situation. Overpollution, no space, everybody gets poorer and poorer, and the places get noisier and noisier. So it's no good. And sadly, this is what people want. The useless, crowded places. And that's what makes people happy. Well, I feel sorry for Ukrainians that their neighbor, Russia, which has more population, destroys them. I feel sorry for Ukrainians. So, yeah. There's something that some things cannot be forgiven to the Russians. And yeah, that's their arrogance that they impose their will on Ukrainians. It cannot be forgiven. What they have done to Ukraine is something that cannot be forgiven. Anyway, regardless of whether or not you disargue with me, again, I receive useless messages and I don't know. I don't know why locals ask me. I don't care about, the messages that you send me. It's just irrelevant topics. I'm just saying, I just hate that the narrative is written by evil people. And I just don't believe that the majority know the truth. The truth is not that. But sadly, humans rather want to hear, no, you can do good deeds and forget that you are a human and you are imperfect by default, that from birth you have been imperfect. All people in the world. And people don't want to hear that everybody is sinful and bad. They would rather listen to, no, this person has done good deeds, and a human being can be this powerful and influential like Putin. This impresses people that, there's a powerful, leader, and yeah, we have to respect him just because he is powerful. If Russia didn't have the natural resources that it has, it wouldn't be nothing. So anyway, not respecting, your smaller neighbor is a sign of an ugly heart. So anyway, that's it. I don't want to argue with anyone, and yeah, my live video gets targeted by people who hate Ukrainians and hate minorities in general. And just hate people who feel tired of this crowded world, that we live in misery, and we are going to get poorer, and very poor we are going to become, because the more people, the less space, the less chance, the less things, everything gets worse. Anyway, no need to explain it more to those who don't want to listen. Take care and live whatever way you want to live. I don't care. Although I wish I would just die and would no longer see this world, because I'm tired of it. Bye.